Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Everybody, please say hi to Rosemary.
How's everybody doing today?
Good Journeys Tarot. And then we have Deb. Everybody say hi to Deb, Purple Elephant.
Hello, everyone.
And for those of you who are following along, Rosemary has been on my channel before. I am going to be a guest on their channel for 78 cards in 78 weeks. And which card are we talking about, Rosemary?
We're talking about the Knight of Swords.
Yes.
So we are going out with some energy.
I think so. And Amy from Strength Reversed will be with us.
Yeah.
And this is the 78th card, people. This is like a huge thing. Plan to be there, people. Plan to be there.
This is the last card in the deck, but not the last episode. There's one more episode.
Yes. And then wait, there's more. And then Purple Elephant Deb H is on my channel on Monday for the Ethics of Reading Part 2. And that's at 2 p.m. And we're talking about that and trying to make sure. Well, here's the thing. I really appreciate the chat and the chat involvement. And I'm trying to figure out a way to help me be able to keep track of everything. So, yeah, I love it. Deb is smiling. Are you smiling because of comments being made?
I'm listening to you and reading comments.
Okay, so let's get caught up. Jamie, Wandering Mountain Bardic Path is here. Jane the Seeker is here. Orshi, Maruda, Lori Kramer. Work is closed due to weather. What kind of weather? Yeah, I'm being spontaneous. It's really hard to. Kristen Louise is here. And Lisa Rhodes is here. Hello. It's Kindness and Light. And okay, just getting caught up. Somebody was talking about this. Oh, it's a 51 and raining in Cleveland. Oh gosh, getting more snow. Lisa Rhodes lives in Iowa, and they're closing schools early, closing all government offices, stopping buses, and all must be in for a bad storm. Yeah, never seen this before. Hershey is here. Hello, Hershey. I'm good with positive vibes. Hell, I'm good with vibes. Oh, they're under a tornado watch. So.
Oh, your intro had some vibes. I hadn't seen that one yet.
Thank you. I was
like
having some fun. And Hypnocity said Washington State is gloomy. So, but yeah, I enjoyed that. So.
In Dallas, it's 82 and partly sunny.
Yes, but it's Texas.
It is Texas. So wait a minute and it'll change.
Yes. Well, it's like I say in Ohio, you know, if you don't like the weather here in Ohio where I live, wait 15 minutes.
Yes.
So,
yeah, it's been weird here, you know, like every few days I have to switch back and forth between the heat and the air.
Yep.
You know, so today it's nice. It's 51, but so I haven't had to have either really.
That's good. Yeah. And yeah, March did come in like a lamb and is going out like a lion. And isn't it supposed to be, and it's April, in like a lion, out like a lamb?
April showers.
April showers, yeah. There you go. We've got the Archangel stuff too. Okay. All right. I'm just getting caught up because there's lovely people here. Thank you. Lisa is here. Hello. Nancy of Crohn's Intuition. Glad to have you here. Thank you. And here's the crazy thing. Oh, look. Good Journeys Tarot is here.
She is.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I can't wait to meet her.
Yeah. Well, you know, it could be Silly Hat Day.
It might be.
It might be. Oh, and it's heavy wind warnings here in West North Carolina mountains. Right? Is that correct? Anyhow, if anybody would like to join us there's the link if you want to join us, because this is silly. We just it's sort of a thing. I don't, I was actually, okay, here's the thing. Richie Longman Tarot is not going on live today, and I was like, going, how many readers and how many people does it take to fill in that gap? I don't know. So
A few.
Yeah. So, oh, look, Jane the Seeker's here. Jane, you got an email. Teacher Barbara is homesick from school. Been running a fever. Ew.
Oh.
Yuck. Hi, Pia's Life.
Yes. Pia's Life has offered to trade locations with me, and I think I'll stay here because she has tornado warnings, I think.
Oh, gosh. Speaking of Richie, hello, Richie. And Nancy is going to be listening and watching on my TV, Time to Rest. Yes, I completely understand that. Completely understand that. Yeah, stay safe. Oop, Carol, Genealogy Junkie here. And you all are great. Oh, 85 in Florida. Dretch and Drizzly in Edinburgh. I know those words are in English. All right. Who's the angel of truth? Well, I can be if you want me to be. If you can handle the truth, you can handle the truth, right? So.
Debbie Aquarius Owl said if I was home, maybe I could have made my YouTube debut.
Yes. Well, who knows how long we'll be here, Debbie?
That's true.
Red Wing is here. Hello. And Arlene. Love the hates. Or how about the hats? I mean, you can love the hates because it's one great. Okay, now this is how we made Deb snort. That snorted, but it's one of those things that if you've got what is it? Jamie shared with me an illustration of a glass that was clear, and then somebody put in their like some black stuff, and it talks about the negativity in your life, and as you're trying to pick out one stone at a time. And then what they did is if you want to do that, the clear water is the positivity, and another great way to do it is you just overfill that water with positivity, and it just gets rid of all of that negativity. Now, that being said, it's work, people. It's work. So I love this. There you go, the fan flips.
The fan flip. Chica is Cardamancy Mesquite's dog.
Oh, well, do you have
Did she say you need a nap or she needs a nap?
Well, let's not limit it. A nap is always
You get a nap and you get a nap.
Everyone gets a nap.
Everyone gets a nap. Now, Rosemary, that's a good question. Are you a nap person?
It depends on the weather and, that kind of thing.
Okay.
I mean, if it's a cool, rainy day, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll take my dogs and go take a nap, because they nap all the time anyway. I mean, they're both right here snoring.
That's good. Jesri is here. Jessica, good to see you. And I wish I could nap. I only had 3 hours of sleep last night. Whenever I lay down, the phone rings. There's this great feature on the phone. It's turning the volume down. You can also silence it.
Yeah, I love that. I actually have mine set to automatically be like do not disturb from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. And if I'm taking a nap, believe me, I hit that little button.
Yes. Yes, I am a smartass. Thank you for noticing. I try really, really hard. My goodness. So, but so Rosemary, you're wearing this hat because tomorrow is April 1st.
Right. Yeah. Tomorrow is April 1st. And I've been playing Elder Scrolls nonstop for a while now, and they're doing an event. It's a Jester's Festival. And so I was looking for an excuse to wear my Jester's hat. And, I am a fool on a journey to create a deck.
Oh,
78 cards in 78 weeks.
yes. Yes. And by the way, I did tell Rosemary that she had to promote the hell out of this.
Yes,
So, because
With
this
Terra
is
Sash.
really exciting.
it is exciting.
It's the last card.
It is exciting.
I have one card that I'm still not happy with, though. And
Which
I'm
one?
dying to print the deck as soon as I finish this card this week, but I am unhappy with the 9 of Wands.
Okay.
And I don't know how to fix it.
Huh.
It's one of, how you get some decks and like when you're thumbing through them, you have to look in the guidebook to figure out what they were doing.
Yeah.
So that's the way this card feels to me when I look at it. I'm like,
Oh,
nobody's going to understand this,
okay.
card. And so I'm like, I have to figure out how to fix it to make it relate to my journey, which is what the deck's been about. And also, so it will be have the right intuitive hits for people when they see it.
Sure.
A lot of the cards do, because even though I did alter them a lot, some of them are very Smith-Waite ideas, or Marseille ideas, or Thoth ideas, depending on the card.
Yeah, I was just gonna say
Right.
you do a blend of them. So
Yes, I'm doing what feels right to me based on all of the correspondences and associations. And so, but that one card, I don't know why the 9 of Wands is causing so much grief for me, but yeah.
do you have a picture of it?
I do. It's
Want us
it's
to-
actually the one of me sitting there at the laptop trying to write an article. And let me see. Here,
I was just going, Deb and I could help.
We could.
We
We could.
have opinions.
Yes,
We do.
Yeah, I'm actually. Yeah, I have
And-
all of the card. I have all of the card images here, but this is the one that I've had the most trouble with. Let me just put my screen here. Window.
I'm like-
There we go.
Oh, okay. I'm going to add that to the stream, Rosemary.
Okay.
Look at that.
So this is currently the 9 of Wands, and I put that moon in Sagittarius in the background to, because I didn't feel like the person sitting there about to close their laptop said it all. But, the closest I could come up with for that feeling of exhaustion but having to carry on was doing a paper in college or writing my articles, because I put so many hours in it and I'm still not finished and I'm still trying to figure it out. And, but I don't feel like the 9 of Wands energy comes across the way I would like it to.
So I'm going to ask, what is the 9 of Wands energy you want to have come through?
Well, I think I want people to get that, we've done a lot and we're tired and we are still carrying on, right?
Yes.
And we're persevering. And I guess that's what that cup of coffee was there for. You got to keep yourself awake to keep going in late night studying or writing your article or paper or whatever the case may be. Traditionally, this is the card where we see people injured.
Yeah.
In this
Bad or
deck.
weary.
Yeah. Battered. And so I just didn't feel like this image spoke to that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would like it to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, there we go. See, that's it right there. It needs more coffee cups and snack wrappers. Okay, yes, that is it. Thank you. We're going to do that. I think that
Yeah.
will resolve my problem. Right there.
I was thinking what Kristen Louise said, that maybe his posture is a little too upright.
So I actually think I looked for that image to use, but didn't find one that would work for me.
Mhm.
One of the issues is I'm using Creative Commons imagery for the most part. So and what's available to me will either work or not work.
Right.
Some of it I created myself, like that Moon and Sagittarius poster behind him. I created all of that except for the bow part. The rest of that is just shapes that I arranged.
Right.
But and the coffee cup, actually, I had to do some editing too, also. But
Yeah.
yeah, so that's an idea. I'll look again for that. I think that would probably work better. This was the best I could come up with for like being at that point where you didn't know what to do. Was like,
You were having
staring off in space.
You were having the 9 of Wands moment while you were trying to create it.
Absolutely. But yeah, I think that if I'll probably look for another image for the sky and throw some candy wrappers and some more empty coffee cups up there. And I think that would probably do it. I appreciate the input. So this is what I've been craving this whole time I've been doing this series, is to get people's input and their thoughts. Yep. And Tarot Stash basically designed the devil card. I mean, he came up with that, and I actually have changed it. Have you looked at them yet at all?
I have not, because I have been working on some other things. So
sure. Absolutely. So for those of you who don't know, Tarot Stash is one of my two proofers of the card images and the symbols and stuff on them. And so, but I changed the devil to make it fit with the rest of the deck. So a little bit. It's still the same character, but the background's different. So.
Well, see, and that's, I think for me, and I don't know about you, Deb, but I like to see the images evolve as you go through the minors.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to be related.
Related and belong to the same, not just the court cards, but the whole suit to be one family is what I like to see.
Yeah. And I do like that with the court cards. I want them to be a family. I want them to look like they work well together, as families sometimes do and sometimes don't do.
Well,
because let's face it.
I'll tell you, for some of mine, they really do look like a little family, and others not quite as much. But then I think that families come in all shapes and sizes.
Yes,
absolutely.
The way I was approaching this particular project, being scenes from my life, and the exception of that would probably be the court cards, but didn't lend itself to telling a story between 1 and 10. It was really single episodes that encompassed the energy of that card. But this, for example, is my Pentacles, my Earth family, and so one of the ways I connected the cards is that all of the outside cards in the Earth suit have this coloration of sky.
Well, and it looks like you're seeing it. I mean, that's the landscape. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And look, by the way, Jane the Secret Tarot has joined us. Everybody, there you go.
Hi, Jane.
Hi, Rosemary. Hi, Deb. Hi, Gerald.
Hello.
Good to see you again.
Okay.
Oh, I'm covering up Jane. There you go.
Well, Rosemary, I wanted to add to your to the other card, the 9 of Wands. Have you thought about adding a pad and pencil with some things scribbled out?
That's another good option. I need to be writing things down. I'll probably remember them. I'll probably be working on it right after this. That happens to me every time I'm on a show and someone looks at the cards and says something. I immediately go and I start playing with it.
Love
Um, I'll be honest. The only reason I have proofers for the final images is because I thought I had the major arcana completed, and then I showed them to Kate Murrah from Group Tarot, and she immediately caught 2 mistakes in like just glancing at them. And so I was like, okay, yeah, I've been looking at them too long. I need another set of eyes.
Yeah. Well, and so that everybody knows, this is Rosemary's deck that she's been creating for 78 cards in 78 weeks. And Jamie just sent me a text message that the court cards, the Pentacles court cards or coins, looks really nice together.
They do.
Yeah. Well, what I was saying earlier is that, some of them like those, they went very well together. But when you get to some others, like, for example, the wands, there's a little bit of variation because I ran with certain ideas for them. Like I associated the page with the ace. And so all of my pages have some similar imagery from the ace because both of those represent kind of messages and beginnings in different ways. And then there was the difference of people being inside versus outside too. So the wands don't actually flow quite as well as, say, the pentacles do, but that's just the nature of the way I did this deck. I approached each card individually and tried to relate it to my personal life.
I think they make sense in relation to wands, though.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's true. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But as far as with one another, you'll see I intentionally tried to make the king and queen associate with one another, but they didn't all necessarily flow in an image, say the same way my earth suit did. So,
yeah,
yep.
I understand that. And so you're getting love for this, for the work. So,
well, thank you. Yeah, it was never. So when I started it, I didn't intend for it to be a deck that was going to be sold because my goal was to create drafts of what they might look like if I hired an artist to do them, and to have them illustrated, and then several people asked about 3 or 4 weeks in, will we be able to get a copy of it? And so I had to go back and edit all of the cards that I had already done because they looked very differently. Let me see if I can pull one of those up and show you how different.
Peter asked a question: why the lion rampart or ramband?
I'll go back to it in a second. It's right there. It should be showing a different card now. Okay. Why the lion? Well, I needed something on the front of the podium, and Leo, I believe, is the astrological sign that I associated with this one. Let me take a look real quick. Hold on.
I think this is fascinating, looking to see the process. For me, I really like to see that. So
yeah, I have to think. I think. Is that right? Yes. So that's the way that I did the cards. I always have to look up the astrology because I did study it enough to be able to learn about the cards, but not enough that I could teach it, right?
Yeah.
And so for me, I associate the fixed signs with the kings and the cardinal signs with the queens and the mutable signs with the knights. And as far as the pages go, I don't really have an astrological association because they're still children, right? This is still formation. We don't know what their energy is yet. Whereas with the knight, we begin to see the elemental energy forming, and it's headed in a direction. It could be one or the other. And we see that on the Tree of Life if anyone's ever looked at it, the pages are at the bottom and then the knight. And then, we move up, it's either the king or the queen on the same level, right? And so there's that option that they could be either. And that's why I have those associations. And that's also what Corinne Keener does in her book, Tarot and Astrology, coincidentally.
Oh,
Let me see what I did wrong, because I thought it should be showing you a different image now. Let me just.
and by the way, this here. Let me remove that. This is completely a spontaneous live. So Rosemary is jumping through stuff. And hi, Jane. Good to see you.
Hi. Hello.
And this is the last card I was going to show you, just so you can see what I was talking about. Early on, I was just choosing random images and putting them up there to say, okay, these are things I want in the card. And so this was the very first version of the 5 of Cups. And but since then, it's evolved as I've gotten better at editing, and because I knew people wanted to get a copy of the deck. I've made changes, and so now that card actually looks like, where is it? There it is. If it'll show it to you. No, it did not. I thought I shared my screen and not the specific image. Sorry about that. Let me just try that one more time. There we go. All right, now that should be right. This is what it looks like now. After a lot of editing, I changed many things to make it flow with the rest of the deck, and so there'd be continuity, and it feels more real to me than, say, that original image, which was just lines on a page to get the idea of what I wanted for an artist. Now it's actually an image that I think is kind of workable and usable.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Well, we don't want to spend all day talking about my deck.
Well, I do have one question
Yeah.
from Lisa. What
Mhm.
made you think of using silhouettes? It's very interesting for interpretations.
So this was actually a logistical thing, like much of what I've done with the deck, because I'm using Creative Commons imagery, being able to find images of people to use throughout the deck that are going to be similar enough in artistic style and the positions that I need and that type of thing was just impossible.
Yeah.
And that was the main reason I went with silhouettes. But the silhouettes do have the advantage that they add some openness to interpretation, right? You look at the image and is it male? Is it female? Some cases it's very clear. Some cases not so much. And it could be anybody. The whole point is that this is me in this situation. And so it is you in this card, right? This is what you're experiencing right now at this time in this place. And that's how I approached the whole deck, was trying to create moments in my life. And so each one of these cards has a little diary entry of what this scene is in my life and how this card related to that moment in time for me. So
that's great. That's great. Wow. See, and this is why everybody should join, on, Sunday for
cards in 78 weeks.
Yeah, for 78 cards in 78 weeks, and the last card. There you go.
The Knight of Swords.
Do it. Be very swordsy. Come and show us. Just randomly do it. It's awesome.
Yes, and my final card is actually very much inspired from this deck, Knight of Swords. The Out of Hand, which has become one of my favorite decks. I keep it beside me all the time.
I love it.
It's actually one of the last decks that I've gotten, and it's the first deck that was ever gifted to me. And so I think Jamie got tired of mailing me stuff, and she's just like, okay, this is the only one you don't have. Here, take it. I would have to ship you anything else.
That's nice.
But yeah, so and you can see here I wrote Rosemary is out of hand.
Rosemary is out. Aw, I love that.
I
And,
love this deck. It's just beautiful, and it really makes you think about the cards in a different way. With
It
what
really
would
does.
be just the hands, you don't see the people, and you don't. And what's really intriguing to me is how she manages to create a completely new scene to illustrate the card, but yet she includes all of those symbols that we recognize from the Smith Waite. It's just
Is-
lovely.
Now, Jane and I are going to be doing Tuesdays with Tarot Stash exclusively on Jane the Secret Tarot on Tuesday. And we have actually read using Jamie Sawyer decks.
Mhm, mhm.
And so is this on your wish list, Jane?
The out of hand?
Yes.
I mean, well, I want the out of hand, but I only have Amazon, and Jamie Sawyer isn't on Amazon.
No.
But I do want the out of hand.
Yeah.
But
It's great. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great. I have the Sawyer's Path and the Pocket of Peers.
Hmm. Yeah. Peter J. Watts asked Rosemary, did you find cards manifest in a way in life while you're working on them?
Interesting. You should ask that. It varies. Some weeks, absolutely. Some weeks, not so much. And usually those are weeks where I end up doing a very Smith Waite version of a card because it just hasn't really spoken to me the way some have. Whereas some are completely different because they were like happening at that moment. And it was going through that at that time. Interestingly enough, the first card I drew for my weekly spread this week was the same card I drew to do for 78 cards in 78 weeks this week. And so this is the Knight of Swords from the Lily White, which is one of my favorite springtime decks. And so yeah, so it does show up. Sometimes it shows up the following day when I draw them on Sunday. When I do my weekly reading on Monday mornings, the card will show up in the reading.
Yeah.
Sometimes it shows up in my personal life. And the other thing that happens sometimes is that when I finally get through studying the card, I realize this has been coming up as a shadow card this week rather than in the upright, because I'll be thinking about it all week. How is this showing up? How is this showing up? Thinking it's not. And then I'll read something in one of the books that someone says about the card's less positive side. And I'll be like, okay, yes, that's totally what's going on here.
Uh-huh.
Because everybody's interpretation of the cards is so varied and different,
Yep.
which is why I've been trying to have different people on the show to talk about them. And I've been using all of the decks in my collection and reading all of the guidebooks and
Yeah.
all of my tarot books from different authors to kind of come up with a mesh of what I really think about the cards and how they have shown up in my life. So,
Well, I do think it's a great exercise. I've not created a tarot deck, but I think it's a really great exercise to stretch what you know. It's
absolutely. And
Yeah.
I think it's something that everybody should do at some point, even if you just draw stick people on some paper,
Yep.
or you decide to paste together collages from old books and magazines,
Yep.
or whatever you decide to do. And I actually will be talking about that in a class next January at StarCon 2024. So, and that convention is actually online and in person. So anybody can attend it from anywhere. If you want to hear why I think everybody should do a deck at some point.
Ooh,
Who's
stay
reading
tuned,
the tarot.
people. Jane the Seeker. The floor recognizes Jane the Seeker, who had her hand and her tiny hand up.
Yes, thank you very much. And I just want to say, because I didn't have a hat, I have hair. So I put my hair up, and you can't see them, but I have little kitty cat barrettes in. But what I wanted to say, not to get political, because I know this isn't that kind of channel, But it's interesting that, Rosemary, that you are doing the Knight of Swords this week, when a lot of people associate the Knight of Swords as the prosecutor. If you catch
Oh.
my drift.
So I had not heard that. I'm not finished my reading. Maybe it'll come across that, but I had not heard that. A new association that I have kind of embraced for this card that I had never considered before is the activist.
Yeah.
Running with the knowledge that you have to, now that you've got the knowledge, you're going to defend what's right, which is really how this card often shows up for me, is movement, right? I mean, this is like,
Yeah.
other than the Knight of Wands, this is the card in the deck with the most movement, so.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's why, people call it the prosecutor. Because what you just said, I mean, it's really moving, it's going towards truth, so that's why it's called the prosecutor.
I get that.
I love that. And Deb, you're confusing, Beth. It's like, what month is this? And I see that you answered her.
Yeah.
But I think, and as Beth said, Aspasia Rising, stretch what you know. And I think that's an important thing. I mean, that's what I think happens during my lives and my Tarot the Stash Way and different laugh and learns, because I only know this amount of stuff. And if I did this with tiny hands, it would be even less of what I actually know. I think it's just the importance of being willing to engage a new idea or a new approach. So, and I think that's one thing, get me on a soapbox and shoot. I should make a little box that has the word soap on it. But
You've been saying that. I'm gonna just go get a bar of like Palmolive or some sort of soap, but I don't even know if they still make it, like a bar of soap, and I'm just gonna send it to you.
I actually had one for a while when the Artistry of Tarot was on her soapbox, and I actually had a box, but anyhow. But my point was what? Just because we have differing ideas and we talk about them does not make one correct. It just means they're different.
Right.
So
absolutely.
And
true.
Yeah, and I'm a huge I said, what did I say? Stretch what you know. I was just quoting you. Really? Oh. I thought that came out of Rosemary.
I can totally relate to not knowing the words that have come out of my mouth during an episode. I have to go back and watch it after somebody says something, because I'm talking. It's actually that Knight of Swords energy where you just start running off at the mouth, right? And because you've got running with your idea and you forget all of what you've said afterwards.
Yeah. I call that pulling a Gerald. Just joking.
Oh my God! Yeah, she was pulling a Gerald. No, actually, it was Terry who was pulling a Gerald. No, you were pulling the Gerald yesterday on your live.
I was like, I'm not going to talk. I was like in pain. I was in a bad way yesterday, and then Terry was on, and I didn't want to cancel, and I'm like, I'm not going to talk. So Terry, you do all the talking. Terry comes on, and I'm like, and Terry's just sitting there going,
yeah. Let me know when you're done.
But anyway,
that's hilarious. Oh my God.
And Gerald was in the chat. I didn't even know. I don't think I knew this. And I said, "Oh, I'm pulling a Gerald," and then all of a sudden he shows up.
Well, you ever notice that you can sometimes that happens. You can manifest people just. It's just like
yeah. I like to call it invoking people, but whatever, you know.
Oh, invoking, that works. So, but I love it. Every once in a while, you ever just watch, you notice Deb occasionally, she just sort of, she gets that grin on her face and her face lights up and she just sort of leans back and I'm like, oh God, what's going to come out of her mouth? It's going to be good. I can tell. Like, ooh, she's going to read me to filth. So, not calling you out.
Sometimes I keep my visions to myself.
Hey, isn't that a song? It is a song. It's Stevie Nicks.
It is.
Mac.
I wasn't gonna say, but
Oh no, you're allowed to, you know.
I can
you
name
call
that
them Stevie
tune.
Nicks.
I can
Well, of
name
course you can.
But there's another thing, Gerald. When we were driving, when I was just out, when we were all provoking. When we were out buying stuff for our house got flooded, so we have to replace like all the flooring, da 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 da. We have to redo the bathroom downstairs, everything, the new vanity, blah blah, paint. So, anyways, we were out picking out the paint and the faucet, and when I saw you were doing a surprise live, I was like, "What?" And it's Friday, but really, what I meant to say was we were pulling, and the reason why I knew I had to come on here was because we were in a parking lot and there was a van and it was for quilters.
A quilting van? What the hell?
Yes. I almost like stopped and took the phone number down. It was like it must have been by like a quilting. I was in this shopping area, but there was this van and it was it was wrapped. The whole van was wrapped and it was all about quilting.
It's everywhere. Quilting is everywhere. And right now, this is an interesting thing. Rosemary, you've said like the Knight of Swords was the first card you pulled in your weekly reading on Instagram. Do all of you pay attention to when you have these repeat cards or these stalker cards, as some people call them? So what do you do with that?
Figure out what it is and then work through that energy. Sorry, Rosemary.
Oh no, that's fine. Yeah, I mean sometimes, but not always. And here's the reason is, and I don't know if anybody tracks their cards of the day, like if you keep track of how many times cards come up or not. But Susan Chang did this once, and she was like, in the larger scheme, like when you look at the whole year, none of them really come up more than any other, right? It's really, it just feels that way to us, and that's something to pay attention to in and of itself, because there is some kind of intuitive or psychological hit there that's saying this is important to you at this moment, regardless of whether that card actually is showing up more than any other cards or you're just noticing it more than other cards. It's important to look at that energy and why that's so noticeable at the moment.
That's true. It's like when you buy a certain color car or a certain kind of car and you never see those cars on the road. And then all of a sudden that car that you bought, every single person on the road has them. But when I get a card over and over again, for me, it's like it's going like this. And so I have to pay it. They won't let me alone. They pay attention. That's what.
What about you, Deb? What do you do when you have the cards that repeat themselves?
Me?
Yeah. Deb. Yes. Deb. Deb. I know it's the hat. It's confusing people.
It depends on what the card is. So if it's obviously something I need to pay attention to, but is it something that is happening with just the flow of things, or is it something that I need to change? So it depends on what the card is. If it's a card that, if it's like an 8 of Cups, is there something I need to walk away from here? Is there something I need to go toward? So it kind of depends on the card. If it's, the 3 of Cups, then I'm just going to have a party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's about it deciding, is this an energy that I'm needing to embrace right now, or
Yes.
is this something that I need to figure out how to move past? And so after I figure that out, I usually will do some little ritual at my altar of some kind, whether I'm burning candles or using oil or whatever, just to focus myself on this particular energy that I need to change or that I'm wanting to pull in,
Mhm.
to change things. So.
Yeah. And Aspasia Rising Beth said, it's from dreams. Now here I go again. I see the crystal vision. I keep my visions to myself.
Yes, it is from dreams.
Oh, and here you go. Quilting, Gerald Van Quilting, alter ego.
I should have went up and knocked on it, but I knew it. I knew you weren't in there because you were on my phone.
Are you sure? I can be in multiple places at once.
You could have been in the van and on my phone. Parallel universes and all that, or just
Parallel universes.
Yes, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of those parallels.
Yeah. I like a customer who always serious looking. One day he asked for 2 cappuccinos and I didn't put chocolate on top. He asked for it and I said, you're sweet enough. He was hysterical. So I've been getting some real repeaters. Well, okay. So how many of you track your daily draws? I mean, I do it, but I do it analog. So
I've tried off and on, but I usually only make it for about 2 weeks before I'm like, I got too much else going on. Don't worry about writing this down or clicking the box on my spreadsheet,
Deb, do you write yours down?
I'm terrible at journaling. I'm terrible at remembering to do that. So I don't track mine. But I will recall if things continue to repeat, I will recall it.
Yeah. I would love to be able to put it in a spreadsheet so that I could easily pull it up, but that requires me to create a spreadsheet. And that'll happen. Like me gardening, right? It's like me actually going a day without taking a nap. That'll happen. So.
Love my naps.
Oh, yeah. Some people, and you don't, I don't, well, what's the opposite of awful? I mean, it's, don't do readings, just tend to remember if I have similar readings. Silence, Gerald.
Certain readings I will write down. Like, I don't write down daily stuff, but like if I'm doing like a full moon reading and I've got several cards, or if I'm at a conference and someone's presenting a spread, then I'll write that down and meditate on it and write about it and stuff. But it's usually those bigger readings, those like once every few months or a year kind of readings. It's not the daily stuff for sure.
Yeah. It's like, oh my goodness, Gerald, how do you fit a nap in? You seem so busy. A nap is any time that my eyes are closed. And, so when I'm actually blinking, if you see me blinking really slowly, because they're quick naps. Ms. Tarot D is here. Hello, Ms. Tarot D. And Susan Beckett, I've been journaling my daily draw since I started 17 months ago. Good for you.
That takes discipline.
It does. I wish I could just see a real life tarot card or a set of them. Well, I don't know what you mean. There's a set right there. There you go.
we go. It's a real life set. This is a funky one. This is Shadowland.
You know,
That's
I have the Shadowland Tarot, and would you be surprised that I actually haven't opened it yet and used it?
I would not be surprised.
It is right over here, though.
Hey, Gerald.
What?
On Tuesday, do you want to do Shadowland readings?
We could.
Unless you don't want to open up your box.
Well, the box is open, but you know, I still have one box that Jamie knows about that I've had for it may be going on 26 months of unopenness.
I remember that conversation.
Scorpio Mama is here. Hello. And Ms. Tarot D might take a nap as you speak. Good night.
The nap contemplation.
Yes. Nap.
Ren is still work lurking.
Ren is still work lurking. Work lurking. So, and Dancing Soul Sister, hello. Just stumbled in here. What are we doing here? We're actually, it's a pop-up random spontaneous live, and Rosemary, Good Journeys Tarot, was sharing about their 78 cards in 78 weeks, and I'm on for the last card, which is the King or the Knight of Swords. It took me a second. I got there, Knight of Swords. And then I have Tarot the Stash Way with Deb H on Monday.
Yes.
I do need to get back to you and talk to you about what we're doing. Tuesday morning is Tuesdays with Tarot Stash, exclusively on Jane the Secret Tarot. And then, I don't think everybody knows this, but on Tuesday, I have a Laugh and Learn about Orisha on Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern. And Amina is with me, and Jamie and I are having a conversation with them. So Sir Gerald is the king and the queen and the god and the goddess. He is why tarot is. Well, that's a lot of pressure, but okay, if you insist.
Gerald? Sir
You
Gerald.
will wear that mantle.
Sir Gerald. Actually, I do have a big furry collar. I wore it once. Zane is here, Tarot Token Witchery. Yeah, spontaneous with hats.
Yes.
Or hair.
Or hair.
Or hair.
I put my hair up. I don't normally wear my hair this way. Those of you who have never met me before.
I think it's adorable.
Oh, I thank you. That's
Yes.
cute.
Yes. And Dancing Soul Sister, I am glad you're here. It's
Yes.
all good.
Oh, welcome.
Blissful Oracle. Ooh, Blissful Oracle. I like that.
Ooh, yeah.
That's almost as fun as saying, Steve O.
Ooh.
Blissful Oracle. Ooh. Just gives me shivers. I think it's, here you go. Hats and cats.
Cats and cats. Where's my cat? Do I have a cat? Oh, there she is. There.
And Rosemary, do you have dogs? Do you have a cat as well?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your cat's name?
Her Royal Highness Princess Sugar of Alpharetta.
But what do you call her? All of that?
Sugar. Her name is Sugar. She so when I got her, she was part of a litter that I was fostering, and she had a twin sister, and I called them Sugar and Spice. And when Spice got adopted, I was like, Sugar needs a better name now. And so ever since, I've always referred to her online as Her Royal Highness Princess Sugar of Alpharetta. So
Yeah.
so she's special, not part of a pair anymore. So yeah, and then I have the two dogs, which
I got it. And Rosemary, are you going to be right back?
oh no, I thought I was going to have to take the dogs out, but it didn't happen.
Okay.
So, good.
Here you go. Yes, put your hair up like that. Flatters you, Jane.
Oh, thank you, Tararena.
So then that means people need to subscribe to Jane the Secret Tarot so that on Tuesday they can see me and Jane read with the Shadowlands.
There you go.
I mean,
and find out what we pair with it. What will we pair with the Shadowlands?
see, here's my
So the-
Shadowlands. It's right here.
Yeah. The book is massive, you know.
Yeah, and in fact, I bought this book because Sadhana, Integrative Healing with Sadhana, actually by Hypnocity, did a couple of years ago did a rating of best guidebooks. And if you've not followed Sadhana, Sadhana is great, but Sadhana had a spreadsheet of all of the things that were important, and this was one of the top ones. So
It's a great book. It's a great deck. I don't know that like it's called the Shadowlands, so I got it to use for shadow work. But I think if I use it on my channel, I won't be using it for like shadow readings. It'll just be regular RWS. You know, I'll just use it as an RWS.
sure.
I hope nobody gets mad at me for that. But
It's your deck. Read it your way.
that's right.
I have Marseille decks. I still read them the same way that I read, the Smith Waite, because those are the things that I know about that card, right?
Yeah.
And so, but they're beautiful. And so I like having them in my collection, but I don't read like the traditional Marseille method. So,
Well, but there's an interesting question: is what's the right way to read a tarot deck?
right.
It's the way you read it. Is the
Right. That's what I just said. Right.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah.
There is no wrong way to read.
Well, there is. It's
Yeah.
Well,
not the way that it's if you're reading it the way somebody has told you to read it, and you're not reading it aligned with you,
that's the wrong way.
the wrong way.
Yeah, because I mean, you have to really be careful with despite the name, it doesn't really look all that. I mean, it doesn't, like, here's the moon. It doesn't look like a big huge shadow deck to me. It just looks really super cute. I mean, is this not this? Although look at this. Here you are. You're on the Six of Swords, so you're going to safety, but you're riding on a what is that guy's back? It's like Cecil, Beanie and Cecil, but it's what is that guy called?
Sea serpent.
Is
A
that
sea
the Loch
serpent?
Ness monster?
Loch Ness, yeah.
Okay.
You're on Nessie, but you're riding to safety, but you're on Nessie. So I don't know. So there is sort of still that
Yeah.
it's a little heavier energy.
It looks like a fun deck to me.
It's adorable. It's
Yeah,
adorable.
if you want a dark shadowy deck, it took me forever to be able to even read with the dark wood. I mean, it really is for shadow work, and it even talks about that through the book. But just the images themselves are really have some. Well, I gotta find them. Have some dark stories behind them.
Is that the Sasha Graham?
Sasha Graham deck, yes.
Okay.
And
yeah.
interesting story. I've read with this deck on Instagram, and every single card I pulled was a pentacle. I have never pulled anything but pentacles from this deck.
Okay, that's interesting. I mean,
Yeah,
are
it
there
is.
other suits in there, or did you get one with?
Yeah, no.
So
See, there's the Three of Swords and the Two
Okay.
of Cups, but even the Two of Cups is really like eerie. It's these two black unicorns, I think. Yeah, but yeah, it's it took me a minute to kind of connect with this deck, because it just, in reading the guidebook, it is definitely a shadow deck. But what ended up happening was, let me find it here. I was looking through the deck and came across this card. Woo! Where is it? It's a deck that I want to play with more once I finish my project. I've got several of those that I've not had time to work with because I've been so focused on finishing my own deck. Where is
Oh,
I
and
agree.
there
Beth,
it is.
Rosemary, Beth said,
Mhm.
I would interpret that to mean the deck wants to advise you financially.
Yeah, right. So when I saw the sun and the moon together
I'm going to
is when
swap
it
you.
finally kind of clicked for me. Because these images actually mirror one another. You'll see the two towers and the moon, and then you've got the two lamps here in the sun. And so and it clicked with me. Okay, that's the same light. It's just at a different time of day. And
Oh,
so, and I think the tarot is the same, right? Any deck really could be for shadow work. I mean, some days the tarot is telling you what to embrace, and some days it's telling you what you need to release.
Yes.
And so that's how I really connected with this deck finally, because it was really dark for me. It's
mhm.
beautiful imagery, but it was, even reading the guidebook, it's very much shadow work that she talks about going through the book. And but seeing those two cards together and realizing it's the same light,
Yeah,
it just
that's
the
good.
same from one deck to another deck. It's the same energy, and
Hmm.
we just have to figure out whether it's something to embrace or something to release.
Yeah. Dancing Soul Sister said, confession, I don't have the Shadowland tarot and I don't plan to acquire it. Do I miss something life-changing? No. I mean, obviously I've had this for a couple of years and I haven't opened it yet. As Jane was saying, the guidebook is really good apparently. And Debbie Aquarius South said, I have that deck and the Shadowland Lenormand.
I would love to get the Lenormand.
I cannot imagine having a deck that I haven't opened. I have to at least flip through the deck as soon as I get it. So that's
Yeah.
interesting for me.
It's one of the wonderful and unique things about me.
But truth be told, there are a lot of decks that's all I've ever done was flip through them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I just have too many to work with on a regular basis. And I have my favorites. Like now, if I'm doing readings for myself, I always use the out of hand.
Yeah.
At least I have since November. And
Yeah. And Beth said, Darkness of Light is a good shadow worker for me. And Pamela Batchelor said, Somnia is their shadowy deck.
mhm.
So, and Jackie said, I don't have the deck either. I've moved past FOMO, thank God. Oh, that's good. You're
His
lucky.
life said, purchase responsibly, know
Yes.
your limits.
Yep. And I'm very much looking forward to Sasha Graham's The Witch's Garden Tarot. And on Thursday, April 6th, I am on Regina's Tarot and Wirecraft backstage crew because she's interviewing Sasha Graham.
Ooh.
So
Cool.
I'm allowed to say that I'm backstage crew.
Cool.
That's nice.
I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled. There you go. Purchase responsibly, know your limits. The images are well done and creative, and the guidebook is very good. Okay.
What's
So
that one for?
that's for the Shadowland.
Oh, yeah.
We generally have. Yes. Go ahead. What were you saying?
Oh, I was just gonna. Excuse me, pardon me. I know it's not that kind of show. Excuse me.
Can be. I mean, you know.
Well, I guess I just made it that kind of show. I just got this deck gifted to me.
Oh, nice.
And I don't know if have you seen this one? It's kind of cool. It's really kind of cool, but look at the backs are I like them. It just comes with a little book, but it's all like this really beautiful artwork. My camera does it no justice, but like here's the Empress. And so it doesn't have a big pregnant Empress, you know. look at this fool. He's just sitting there eating a something or other. So it's just like they took artwork and I don't know, made a deck out of it, but it's very interesting. So I just read it RWS.
Uh-huh.
But it's that type of thing where you get these people just put art and they make a deck and it's kind of cool. But I use it with the Lonely Woods. It goes really well with the Lonely Woods.
Mhm.
You know.
What were you going to say, Rosemary?
I was going to say, yeah, there's so many different approaches to making tarot decks. You know, I have a deck that is like that. It's the Edvard Munch Tarot for relationships, where they just took existing artwork and then they assigned it to cards in the tarot. And there are a lot of decks like that. And then you have the ones that are collaborative, where different individuals do cards.
Yeah.
So those are probably my least favorite types of decks. I like some cohesion. And that's why I changed a lot of my cards as I've gotten closer to the end, because I felt like they were too far apart. Like I had two decks going on at the same time because of the imagery. And then a lot of tarot decks now are centered around themes. So people have them just because they love those ideas or topics. Like I have the Tarot Bot, which basically was just the Smith Waite as robots.
Yep.
I have the Crystal Unicorn, which is unicorns in the RWS, imagery, right? And so, and then other people will do something completely different, like with the Bone Stone and Earth Flesh, where they created each individual image for the story they wanted to tell about those individual cards, which is similar to what I've done is to try to connect the cards with my personal life.
Yeah.
Which I think is important for tarot readers to take time and look at how the cards have shown up in your life, not just by reading, but just individually looking at those cards as you're studying them and say, when was this moment in my life? And it's very therapeutic, really.
I agree.
To examine yourself.
I'm so silly. This John Bauer Tarot, he was the artist. He's the artist that lived in 1882, from 1882 to 1918. And so these are all his paintings, and that they incorporated into a deck, that they chose certain works of art to represent the certain cards.
Sure.
So, sorry.
Jackie's Crystal Moon said, I got to start putting on a music playlist when pulling cards. I love assigning songs to cards.
Oh,
I love that, Jackie. I actually have been posting my cards each week on TikTok with a song, and now there's certain cards I can't. When I see them, I start humming that tune from the song that I used on the TikTok in my head. It's a good association, to have to things, music for specific occasions. You've got colors for specific things. You've got, symbols, but sound is another one, which I think is great.
Yeah. And Deb, you and I have been sharing some music back and forth, and it's powerful. I love it.
Yes,
I love it. We're both like, yes, we have.
We have. Yes, we have.
Yeah.
Beth has a question.
Yes, Beth does have a question. What makes a shadow deck a shadow deck? Is it just strictly the art, or is it the question and the spread context and not art? When even a classic RWS can be a shadow deck?
Yes.
For me, it's the way it reads. If it reads like a shadow deck, then that's what I use it for.
Jane, would you like to offer your thoughts on this?
I haven't found I find light and dark in everything. So I don't have a particular shadow deck. Like Deb was saying, however it reads to you at that moment, it can, but I don't know that I would, even though this is called Shadowland, and I guess it's supposed to be a shadow deck, it's very fun. And I was looking at the booklet. It's not like a shadowy, it's not like this aspect is da 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 da, blah, 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 in the shadow form. I think you just have to take it for how you want to look at it. Because especially being an intuitive reader, where you just look at a card and then you get the feeling and then you can go, oh, then you.
Yeah. Pamela Batchelor said, I'd say a shadow deck evokes certain emotions or feelings that are not on my surface conscious. And I will have to say, this is a really good question. It's also, for me, I get very frustrated with the idea of it being shadow work, because it puts a value on it of, is shadow work bad? Light and shadow exist at the same time. And I agree with Pamela. It's the shadow. It's anything that we're not seeing that we need to see.
Yeah.
And so I think for me, it depends upon, I'll get to you in just a second, Rosemary. Let me finish my thought. But I think it's the spread and the energy around the question, is because sometimes I do deck interviews, which gives me an idea of what the deck wants to be used for me. And sometimes, it's like a lot of people considered the Deviant Moon a shadow working deck. For me, I think that's one of the most, it's one of the funniest decks. It gives me hilarious readings.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it gives me very gentle readings.
Yeah. And so I think it really is, what's the question and what am I ready to hear? Because that's part of my practice. I believe that I'm going to get the message that I can handle, even though it may be hard. Yes, Rosemary, what were you going to say?
Well, as I was trying to say earlier, when I said yes, it's all of this. It is the questions you're asking and the spreads, but also it can be the decks. This deck actually says in the very first few sentences, this deck was designed for shadow work. Mm-hmm. And that's really what I got out of it when I started looking at the cards, and then had to look at what she was going for in her guidebook, and realize, oh yeah, this is totally showing me a side of the cards that I've never seen, right? Or that I haven't experienced. And it was done that way intentionally. Uh-huh. There are things in it that I've never seen in another tarot deck. And so it's all of the things that she asked about, really. It can be a deck, whether that's the artist's intention or whether that's how that imagery speaks to you. If it's showing you something that is not something that's ever been revealed to you, then that's a shadow, right? True. That was unclear before. Mm-hmm. But so I think it's all of it.
I agree. Yeah.
Because look at this is supposed to be a shadow deck, but look at this 3 of Swords. This guy has on number one, it's the heart is like a pin cushion. Those are just 3 needles going through it. And he's wearing sunglasses, and he's got his hands in his jacket pockets. And he doesn't look like he really has like a broken heart. He almost looks like he keeps those pin cushions there so that he can jab somebody, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. I want to just get caught up in some of the chat because there's great comments. Pamela said there's such a difference between the strength card and the Somnia Tarot and the RWS strength card. For me, I think more deeply, I search for a deeper meaning. And Beth said shadow work for me is kind of a combination. I'm not sure Tarot of the Owls could ever give me a deep reading. Darkness of Light always seems to bring up stuff. And Lisa said, yeah, black and white deck, Tarot of the Abyss brings out clear emotions for me.
I was gonna bring that one up. It gives me more shadowy reading. I love that deck. Go on.
Yeah. And I think a shadow deck is the one that particularly brings up dark hidden things. The images evoke the emotionally challenging issues. Could be a sweet deck. And you're right. It's exactly what it brings up, what it brings to the light. Blissful Oracle said everyone has shadow work. We may not call it that or use cards to do it. We all have shadow self-reflection, self-examination. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So what Dancing Soul Sister said resonates with me because my my most challenging deck is a sweet deck. It's beautiful to look at. You wouldn't think that it would deliver the kind of messages it does.
Yeah.
So,
which is one of the things that I believe is great about being around into tarot so much.
mm-hmm.
Is there's so many options. It can be
Yeah.
overwhelming. So, and Lisa said, Rosemary, a great example is the change in the 5 of Cups, the amount of color.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah.
I love that 5 of Cups, by the way, because you can read it with the figure looking at the cups or the figure looking across the bridge. The direction would depend on how you're reading and what the layout looks like.
Yeah.
Well, that is one of the cards that followed the Smith-Waite card pretty closely, but the details in it speak to a very specific time in my life, and so there's a specific story talking about that. In fact, that silhouette is actually the city of Atlanta, where I am now. So,
wow.
Rosemary, with your book that comes with your deck. Sorry, Gerald.
No, go.
Rosemary, when you write the companion book to your deck, will you be telling any of your personal story of how you? Whoops, sorry, she got to go. She got to go. I'm back.
Just getting somebody out of trouble real quick, but I do have to take them outside after I answer this, because it's that time of day for them. So when I published the book, what was the last part of that?
Oh, when you talk about the cards, will you relate any of the cards to your own personal story?
Right. So as I was saying earlier, that there is going to be a diary entry for each card that's going to talk about that story.
Okay.
That life event. So, and that's why the book is called Dear Diary, A Guide to the Good Journeys Tarot, because there will be diary entries with each of the cards.
That's nice.
I love me a good diary. I love reading diaries. What a great,
I know. I'd probably just get the deck to read the book.
There you go.
Okay, but I mean,
Yeah. I'm going to put them outside and then I'll come back.
Okay. Do you want me to remove you? Here, I'll remove. Oh, hi.
Well, now I can really see my hair.
Yeah, I love ambiguity in art. So many ways to interpret. Looking at it or reading it never gets old.
Yeah.
And I do think that that's something that's really important. Is I think it's the cards in context that mean things for me, because when I'm doing my daily pulls, I'm pulling 3 cards for my daily pulls. And it's not just about it. So it's about the card in which position and how it relates to the other cards. So.
Yeah. When you do your 3 card readings in the morning, do you use a different assignment? Do you on different days, do you use different assignments for each card, for each position?
No, I usually pick for a week. I do some sort of a spread. Right now I'm back to using the remember, rethink, and release. Okay, Rosemary's back.
Sorry about that.
Nope.
Oh yeah, remember, rethink, and release.
Yep. So, and then before that, it was. Before that, Jamie and I were chatting, and we came up. I used the spread machine, and we had used. Let's see, it was. Please hold. Let me go back. It hasn't been that long. Manifest, responsibility, and affirmation. Those were the 3 positions.
Okay.
So, but sometimes I'm a hashtag overcomplicator and other times I'm not. So, here we go. Something I've learned from Jane and Gerald is to actually read the card itself. I find I have to do that when reading the Somnia Tarot, and it's really a new thing for me.
Oh yeah, like you mean intuitively reading the card?
Yeah.
Yes.
Actually looking at it. Yeah. Yes. Good, Pamela.
And Rosemary, there's a lot of love for the idea of the diary entry.
Oh yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. I still have to write some of them, but I've got some stuff done already for the guidebook. I have the cover and I have the different sections done for each of the cards.
Beautiful.
So, yeah, still a lot to do though. Looking forward to having time to do nothing but write after the 9th, which will be the final episode. So, of 78 cards in 78 weeks.
There you go. Dancing Soul Sister said, remember, rethink, release is fabulous. I already tried it several times. Great readings. Yay! So, and Nancy Paper Moon Tarot is here. And Nancy Paper Moon Tarot is going to be the guest on Long Stash on Richie's channel at the end of April for the Beltane readings.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
all right. Well, I have occupied your time. Thank you all very much. This has been lovely. What do people have coming up on their channels? Because we know, I think people realize that on Sunday on Rosemary's channel, Good Journeys Tarot, there's, we're talking about the Knight of Swords. She holds it up. So,
I froze on my screen. That was like, oh wow. Okay.
Hi, monkey.
He just woke up.
Do you have what you got coming up on your channel?
Me?
Yes.
Or Jane? I've, on my channel, at the moment, I don't have anything scheduled, but I do, Tuesday I have Thayer Hutchinson, and we will be doing mediumship readings in the evening. And this evening, I'm going to be on Sun Psychic Jean's channel. And then Monday, I will be on Gerald's channel for a Tarot the Stash Way.
Yeah.
And we will be discussing ethics of reading. Part 2.
Part two. Jane, what do you have coming up?
Oh, well, I was going to take a break, but a little bit of a break. I was going to rest. This week was busy, but I'm going to be, so I came here today and I'm going to go, tomorrow I'm going to be with Brenda Taro readings. Okay. Is that her name? Whatever, her. I have the information somewhere. And then Monday, I'm going to do the Meet Your Guides on my channel. I like to do it on Mondays. So if you want to come and if you're wondering how do you meet your guides or who are your guides or how do you talk to your guides or anything like that, I kind of help out with that a tiny little bit, And then Tuesday, Gerald. And then you know who I'm having on Wednesday?
Who?
Thomas.
Really?
Yes. From Tarot Your Way. And Thomas Bell, whatever his name is, but he's funny. And I told him, I'm like, here I go again. I'm introducing it because I want to get him to 100 subscribers so he can do lives by himself. So, but I'm like, here I go again. Going to bring another reader on, and he's going to far surpass me in numbers. He's really good. He's really, really good, and so I'm excited to introduce him to the tarot world.
It's beautiful. That's beautiful. So
I'm excited.
excellent. Okay, did I get everybody? Rosemary, Monday or Sunday?
So Sunday is 78 cards in 78 weeks. This week we're doing the Knight of Swords with Tarot Stash and Amy from Strength Reverse. And then the 9th is going to be the final episode. And I probably won't be doing much on YouTube for a bit while I write the book. I actually had planned to launch a new series in May, but I'm going to postpone that due to some other things happening in the world. But that final episode on the 9th, actually, I'm inviting all of my previous guests back to look at the entire deck as it's been completed at that point, and also to talk about how people feel about extra cards that outside of the system of tarot.
Yeah.
And I say outside the system of tarot because some decks have historically had 86 cards because they had 6 courts.
There he is.
Courts, the minors, and the 22 majors. How do people feel about those extra cards? And we'll talk a little bit about that with
That's interesting.
a bunch of random guests.
Yeah, and that's on Easter Sunday or Easter Sunday. So
Yep.
okay.
So if you're like me and you don't have Easter plans, you can join me.
Well, they'll have Easter plans with you.
Right? Absolutely. I have bunny ears around here. Several pair, actually.
I love it. Several pairs. Okay. Well, everybody, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, my lovely guest, for being willing to just jump on. So everybody take care.